Hello. Today we talk about the future of cities. We are essentially talking about strategic thinking in practice, and namely about strategic planning in regional development. Every successful city or region you know today did not grow randomly. It developed according to a certain vision, supported by planning, coordination, and long-term thinking. That is why understanding the concept of a strategic development plan is so important for anyone studying public administration, regional economics, or urban planning. Let us begin by imagining a city as a living organism. It has its population, economy, infrastructure, culture, and environment, all interacting with one another. A strategic development plan acts as a guiding framework for this organism. It is one of the most fundamental documents a city or region can have because it outlines how that territory should evolve over the medium or long term. Typically, such plans look ahead 5, 10, or even 20 years. A strategic plan is not just a technical document filled with statistics. It is, above all, a conceptual document. It reflects the real condition of the territory, its demographic trends, economic strengths and weaknesses, social structure, cultural identity, and ecological situation. It draws from both public and private activities, meaning that it captures not only what the government is doing, but also what businesses, institutions, and citizens contribute to the life of the city. Usually, the responsibility for creating such a plan lies with the city or municipal office. However, it is rarely the work of a single person or department. On the contrary, it is developed by a diverse team of experts, economists, urban planners, environmental specialists, sociologists, and often also includes input from citizens, non-profit organizations, and private stakeholders. This diversity ensures that the plan reflects a broad range of perspectives. The main purpose of the strategic plan is to coordinate development in a way that harmonizes different interests. Every city has competing demands. Residents want better living conditions. Businesses seek profitability and growth opportunities. And governments aim to ensure sustainability and efficiency. T His strategic plan helps align these interests so that the city can develop as a coherent whole rather than in fragmented ways. At the same time, it provides guidance for businesses, helping them align their own long term plans with the direction of the city. If we look at what a good strategic plan contains, we will see that it always starts with a vision. This is usually a short statement, one or two sentences, that expresses what the city wants to become in the future. It is followed by a more detailed summary, sometimes called a thesis, which outlines the key issues the plan aims to address. Then comes a thorough analysis of current conditions, because you cannot plan the future without understanding the present. Another important element is the identification of target groups. In other words, for whom is the plan created? Is it aimed at improving life for residents, attracting investors, supporting young families, or strengthening tourism? In most cases, it addresses all of these groups, but the emphasis may vary. A crucial analytical tool within the plan is the SWOT analysis. This method examines the strengths and weaknesses of the city, as well as the opportunities and threats it faces. It helps decision makers understand where the city stands and what challenges lie ahead. Based on this, the plan then defines key development areas such as transport, environment, economy, or social services, and sets a timeline for achieving the proposed goals. Finally, the document concludes with a formal summary and approval clause, confirming that the plan has been accepted by the relevant authorities. To make this more concrete, consider the city of Brno in the Czech Republic. Its long-term strategy, known as Brno 2050, focuses on innovation, sustainability, and quality of life. The city involved not only experts but also citizens through public consultations, ensuring that the plan reflects real needs and aspirations. This example shows how strategic planning is not just about writing a document, it is about shaping a shared future. Now, creating such a strategic plan is not a simple or linear task. It is a structured process that unfolds in several stages, each building upon the previous one. We can think of it as a journey that begins with preparation and continues through analysis, strategy formulation, implementation, and continuous improvement. So, the first step is preparation. This is where the decision to create a strategic plan is made. The organizational structure is set up, responsibilities are assigned, and the overall approach is defined. At this stage, it is also important to decide whether the plan will be developed mainly by experts, by the community, or through a combination of both. Transparency is key here, as early communication with the public helps build trust. A good example of this can be found in the Czech city of Jihlava, which published its strategic planning process online. This allowed citizens to follow the process and contribute their ideas, making the planning more inclusive. Once the groundwork is laid, the process moves into the analytical phase. Here, the focus is on understanding the current situation in detail. Data is collected on population trends, economic performance, infrastructure, and environmental conditions. SWOT analyses are conducted for different sectors, and the results are discussed with experts and stakeholders. For instance, in Košice, Slovakia, such analysis revealed a strong dependence on heavy industry. This insight led the city to focus on diversifying its economy, especially by supporting the IT sector and creative industries. After gathering and analyzing all relevant information, the process shifts into what we call the strategic or synthetic phase. This is where the vision is formulated more precisely and specific goals and priorities are defined. The city decides what it wants to achieve and how it intends to get there. It is also important at this stage to ensure that the plan is aligned with national and regional strategies. Once the strategic direction is clear, the process enters the draft phase. This is where ideas are transformed into concrete actions. Different working groups collaborate to develop specific measures, estimate costs, and set timelines. The draft is often presented to the public for discussion, allowing for feedback and further refinement. Following the draft phase comes implementation. This is where the plan becomes reality. Projects are launched, responsibilities are assigned, and coordination among stakeholders becomes essential. Without effective implementation, even the best plan remains just a document. However, implementation is not the end of the process. Continuous monitoring and evaluation are necessary to ensure that the plan is on track. This involves comparing actual results with planned objectives, using both quantitative and qualitative indicators. If something is not working as expected, adjustments can be made. Interesting example is from Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, is known for its strong monitoring systems. The city regularly evaluates its development projects, like this one, ensuring efficiency and accountability. Finally, every strategic plan must be flexible. The world is constantly changing. Economic conditions shift, new technologies emerge, and unexpected challenges arise. Therefore, the plan must be regularly updated and adapted to reflect new realities. A good example of this adaptive approach is Shenzhen in China, which continuously updates its strategy to keep pace with rapid technological and economic development. As we reflect on this entire process, it is important to understand that strategic planning operates across multiple dimensions. On a socio-political level, it represents a consensus among political leaders, stakeholders, and citizens about the direction of development. On a system level, It must fit within the broader framework of national and regional policies. And on a factual level, it must address real problems and opportunities. These dimensions are interconnected and equally important. Another important aspect of strategic planning is the approach used in its creation. Some plans are developed using a top-down approach, where experts lead the process, so-called deductive approach as methodological orientation. Others use a bottom-up approach involving citizens and stakeholders more directly, relatively inductive. We know this well as we studied these approaches for classic and modern schools. In practice, the most effective strategies combine both approaches. BRNO again serves as a good example as it combines expert analysis with strong community participation, creating a more balanced and inclusive plan. At this point, we should introduce an important tool that complements strategic planning, the Balanced Scorecard, often referred to as BSC. This method was developed because many organizations found that even well-designed strategies often failed during implementation. The problem was not in planning, but in execution and measurement. The balanced scorecard addresses this issue by linking strategy with measurable outcomes. It does not focus only on financial results, but looks at performance from four different perspectives: financial, customer, internal processes, and learning and growth. The financial perspective considers traditional indicators such as profitability and revenue growth. The customer perspective focuses on satisfaction, loyalty, and market position. The internal processes perspective examines how efficiently the organization operates, and the learning and growth perspective looks at long-term capabilities, such as employee skills and innovation. What makes the balanced scorecard powerful is that it connects these perspectives. It ensures that actions in one area support goals in another, creating a balanced and integrated approach to management. For example, Prague's public transport system uses performance indicators such as customer satisfaction and service reliability. These indicators help improve both operational efficiency and user experience. Before implementing the balanced scorecard in public administration, it is necessary to decide on its scope. Will it be applied to the entire region, a specific department, or selected organizations? This decision influences the complexity and effectiveness of the implementation. The implementation process itself involves several steps, starting with the decision to adopt a method and continuing through strategy review, creation of a strategic map, development of measurement systems, and regular evaluation of results. It also requires training, communication, and strong leadership. For example, Rwanda offers an interesting parallel with its system of performance contracts known as imihigo. These contracts link national goals with measurable outcomes at local levels, ensuring accountability and continuous improvement. To conclude, strategic planning is not just an administrative requirement. It is a fundamental tool for shaping the future of cities and regions. It provides direction, aligns stakeholders, and ensures that development is sustainable and inclusive. At the same time, tools like the Balanced Scorecard ensure that strategies are not only well designed, but also effectively implemented and continuously improved. For you, understanding these concepts is essential. Whether you work in public administration, urban planning, or the private sector, you will encounter strategic thinking in many forms. And the better you understand how strategies are created, implemented, and evaluated, the more effectively you will be able to contribute to the development of your communities. Thank you for your attention.